Good morning and welcome to the 1480 Club for Monday, April 18th, 2016. This is John Lewis, and thank you for joining me as always as we head into the later half of the month of April. And we have two guests with us on the phone this morning. We have Amy Miller, the director of CASA of the Southern Tier, as well as Jennifer Coons, one of the volunteers of CASA. So we have two great representatives from the program, and let's have Amy get us started. Amy, tell us about your affiliation and a little bit about the program.
Okay. Well, I've been with CASA for 19 years now. I'm very passionate about what they do. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and what we do is we recruit and train community volunteers to advocate for abused and neglected children. What our volunteers do is they research everything about a child's situation, and then they write a thorough report for the judge and the legal parties and submit that every single time that child's case goes to court.
Okay, and Amy, how long have you been with CASA of the Southern Tier?
Just over 19 years now.
Okay, wonderful. So you've seen a lot in those years, I'm sure. Are there some things that, I'm sure there's a lot of good stories and some bad stories as well?
Yes, definitely both. One of the things that I think is important about the program is judges have an average of 3 minutes to make a determination on a child's future. And as a CASA volunteer, they provide a report that has everything about that child and, how their school's going, their medical, visitation with family, or how the situation is in the foster home, anything in regards to that child. And the judge and all the legal parties get that prior to the court date so that they're fully informed, so that during that 3 minutes, they have everything they need.
Boy, so really it's a 3-minute process with some information front-loaded, but then it really becomes up to the CASA volunteer, and I would assume then that's where Jennifer Coons comes into play. And Jennifer, thanks for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Good morning, John.
Yes.
So my role as a volunteer, Amy kind of went over what we do or what we're supposed to report to the judge. And as a volunteer, you do that in a lot of different ways. You visit with the children at least once a month. I currently have one case with two boys who I visited last week, and then I went to a swim practice to watch them at swim practice because they were excited about their Special Olympic swimming. So you see the kids, you go to visitation with the parents, you call the school, you talk to the teachers, and sort of gather all that information together to present to the judge. The Department of Social Services presents information to the judge, and obviously the attorneys all present information to the judge, but it's not as child-focused as the CASA report is. My report is really just what is going on with the kids in all aspects of their life, not just as it relates to the court case. So it gives the judge a really good snapshot of what's happening, and then also I think it personalizes the child for the judge and for all the other parties to the case, too, I think.
Great. And Jennifer, how long have you been working with the program, I should start with?
I've been with the program for 2 years, and then the case that I'm on, I've been on for 2 years. So I've been with these children since they came into foster care for the most part, maybe a couple months after they actually came into care. But I've been with them the whole time. So, they know my face, know my name, asked me to, part of going to swim practice was because they asked me to come.
Right.
So they really you really have a connection with these kids after 2 years. It'd be just like seeing a kid for 2 years that's the neighborhood boy or your niece or nephew. I mean, it's that often that you start to have a relationship with them.
Great. And is this a case then you will see this through to the end?
Yes. So CASA volunteers are assigned to the case until the child is adopted. So that process, in general, I think the average, Amy can probably say the exact number, but the average time in care is at least a year or more, correct, Amy?
Yes. The average case is actually 2 years. So,
and I probably have. So I've done 2 years, and I would say I have at least another. This case will be another 6 months at least. So that'll be 2.5 years for me with these children.
Okay. And to keep, we'll keep with you, Jennifer, but let's go to Amy again. Amy, Jennifer's just one volunteer. How many do you work with?
We have an average 20 to 30 active families involved at any given time. So on average throughout the year, we may serve about 100 children, but if we had a CASA for every child in need,
sure,
we would need at least 300 volunteers.
Okay. Wow. So many more needed, and that's one of the reasons why you're here today. Spreading awareness, one, of the program, but two, really seeking more volunteers, and there's a training, I understand, coming up at the beginning of May?
Yes, absolutely. We have our volunteers have to go through training provided through the CASA program, and it's approximately 30 hours long. It's spread out. This one we're offering on Tuesdays starting on May 3rd, running through May 31st, and that's at the Steuben County building from 1:30 to 4:30. And then we're offering a second training on Thursdays starting May 5th through June 2nd from 9 to 2 in the CASA office, which is in Horseheads, New York.
Okay, wonderful. So 2 trainings, the one starting May 3rd in Bath, right at the county building, right by St. Mary's Church, which would probably be most likely where our listeners would go, but May 5th in Horseheads, right at the CASA offices. What's the address of the actual offices for CASA?
207 South Main Street, Horseheads, New York.
Okay, excellent. And then coming back to Jennifer then, I can imagine being a volunteer very rewarding, but also a little difficult that at times you can't really go out and talk to maybe your husband or your friends of saying, this is, what I did today, and these are the people that I was with, because in a way, it's confidential. Well, it is confidential. Can you talk about that? Is it a struggle, or is the reward make it all worth it?
The confidentiality thing isn't too much of a struggle, just because the CASA office and all the other volunteers are really supportive. So, as a volunteer, if you need to talk about a case, there are 20 other CASA volunteers, and you can talk to other CASA volunteers with questions or venting or frustration. So that part isn't too difficult. There are days where you think, my goodness, I'm not making a difference, or my goodness, the system is slow. And then those are balanced by the days where, like your child is all of a sudden on honor roll, or, they're not having social issues, or they had an awesome week of school, and you see the progression. And if anything else, it's the 80-20 rule, 20% of the time you're a little frustrated, and 80% of the time it's awesome. And I would say, too, for people who are interested in being volunteers, again, there's a great support system. The training is awesome. But you don't have to be a specialist in mental health or been involved in some sort of foster care work before, or be a teacher or educator, or be an expert in children. It's really, I have a business degree. I worked in higher education my whole life. We have volunteers that have done all different kinds of jobs for a profession. You really just have to have a desire to help children and recognize that abuse and neglect is happening in our communities, as much as we don't necessarily want to know or don't see it as often because it is confidential and not publicized. But you can come from any walk of life, have any sort of background. That's kind of the point of the CASA volunteer, is to give the judge a community the community view of what's happening with this child. So I would encourage anybody who's interested in becoming a volunteer, give the office a call if they want to learn more, to check out the website, both the national website and our website. It really is a very, very, very rewarding thing to do, and the growth you see in these children as you work with them just can make your day. It's amazing how well these children do when they're properly taken care of and have the proper services.
Great. And Jennifer, I know you live in Elmira, but you're from Hornell, formerly Jennifer Wolliver. So we are friends, and we randomly connected through this telephone call. This wasn't something where I reached out to you, and we were both pleasantly surprised to hear each other on the other end of the line, thanks to Amy. But I know you're passionate about this, and I really appreciate you and what you're doing with the children in the community. What about age ranges? Or maybe Amy wants to comment, but for a typical case or that worked with the CASA program?
Well, CASA serves anyone from birth until up to 18, but sometimes 21, depending on the mental level of the child. So I would say that our cases honestly range a variety from young children to teenagers. I think our most popular age this last year was 7 to 10.
Okay.
And the community donates. We do a Christmas kind of gift drive thing where the local community donates gifts for us to give to the families. And even in just helping wrap the gifts, it really was the whole gamut. I mean, the room had diapers in it for babies to, gift cards to Carol post out for a teenager for clothes. So it really is a huge gamut of ages that I've noticed. I guess that was the most apparent thing I saw, was just how much gap there was.
Great. And boy, it sounds like you're doing so much more than just, meeting with the children. So this is just a great program. And I'm very thankful that you're on our show spreading awareness. And I really do hope some of our listeners are it's striking a chord. They're making a connection here and maybe saying, this is something I should get involved in. And again, here in Hornell, I'm talking on 1480 AM that should be listenable in the surrounding area all the way to Bath, where that's where the training will be starting May 3rd for CASA, right at the public building across from St. Mary's Church. Amy, can you tell us either the website or how to reach out?
Absolutely. Our phone number is 607-936-2272, and our website is CASASouthernTier.org.
Okay, sure.
So if you want to email, you can also email info, that's INFO, at CASASouthernTier.org.
Wonderful. How about closing comments from Jennifer first?
Again, I would just stress, if anybody even thinks they're remotely interested in this, to go ahead and give the office a call and learn a little more about exactly what a CASA volunteer does and answer any questions that they may have. It's about an average 10-hour-a-month commitment after you're done with the training, depending on, where you are in the case. And it's just a very, very rewarding thing, and it's an awesome way to help your local community and help children who certainly need to be taken care of.
Great, and thank you, Jennifer Coons, formerly Jennifer Wolliver, formerly of Hornell, a CASA volunteer. And let's get a final comment from Amy.
I just want to say thank you so much for having us this morning. And April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, so if you've ever wanted to make a difference, really, now is the time to call and see what you can do.
Thank you, and that's Amy Miller, the Director of CASA of the Southern Tier. Thank you both for joining us this morning on the 1480 Club, and we appreciate your time, and please have a great week and a great month of April as well.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will be right back here on the 1480 Club with Rob, Carolyn, and the weather.